A post that I recently saw online read, "If 2020 hasn't brought out the hustle in you, then it ain't in you." And I cringed. I cringed because it was like, oh my gosh, I think that that's me. I think that I don't have the hustle and the grit to have done something amazing this year. And I was being very, very hard on myself because, I read this, but I actually have been thinking about that all year long. Hey there, this is Dali. A lot of you are saying good riddance. Thank goodness this year is over. But remember that we always think that it's greener on the other side. And we must be prepared for this chaos to not end so quickly. I'm not trying to be a negative stinker thinker. I'm just trying to help you be more realistic, but still be positive about the new chapter of everybody's lives that we're about to enter, right? So, 2021 is a year that a lot of people are super excited about. They feel very positive about it, and that's great. And I want you to continue grasping that positivity and roll with it, even if something happens that you don't expect, like something negative, because that's how life is. Life is not about if something negative happens, life is about when something will challenge you. That and usually challenges are not seen as positive things in life. So I think that the first thing that's going to help us all is keeping that in mind, that we need to be prepared for our challenges and we need to embrace them, because without challenges then we do not grow. And I tell kids all the time, embrace it, roll with it. That's when you're going to shine. And I tell parents, be there for your kids. Let them know it's okay to be challenged. Let them know it's okay to not do as well as you would think you'd do. And have a positive outlook regardless of the outcome, because that is what's going to define how you will tackle the next problem. A post that I recently saw online read, "If 2020 hasn't brought out the hustle in you, then it ain't in you." And I cringed. I cringed because it was like, oh my gosh, I think that that's me. I think that I don't have the hustle and the grit to have done something amazing this year. And I was being very, very hard on myself because, I read this, but I actually have been thinking about that all year long. Why? Because I have seen amazing startups just sprout out of nowhere because of COVID. I have seen where people get laid off from their jobs and they start something and it just takes off like wildfire. One example is Del Corazon Pastries, my sister in law's pastries business. She has been amazing. She's got skill, her stuff tastes delicious, and she hasn't had to do what I've had to do. So I kept comparing myself to people like her. I can name so many other businesses that I've learned of that have been thriving. So they haven't been having to spend as much time on social media as I have, or like promoting or anything like that. But then I had to remember, okay, that's thinking, first of all, and I'm falling into it. I preach about it all the time, so I need to try harder to not fall into that. So then I started thinking, and actually, this came to me in the shower. They say good ideas or aha moments come in the shower because that's the state of relaxation that you're usually in, and the water and all that soothing sounds help you. So I was in the shower when it came to me that I have done something. So I did something pretty incredible that I think a lot of people would not do. And actually, it was not just me, it was my family and I, my two kids, my husband and I. We decided to sell our 4,200 square foot home in California and move back to our older home in Maryland, for the goal of paying off the home in Maryland in 6 years. We're in our early 40s, and I really want to put more money into Dalitalks so that I can reach out to more people and help them. Because as you've seen in especially 2020, there's a lot of division, there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of stereotypes that put others down. I want to be able to invest in Dali Talks without having that feeling of, like, oh, I have to wait or I have to save more or I just can't afford it right now because I also have all of this. And, your life can change so significantly if you just don't have a mortgage. I think that a mortgage is most people's number one expense, or their rent. That is most of your paycheck. That's where it goes. So if you just eliminate that rent or that mortgage, you can do so much. Even if your mortgage or your rent is really low, you can do so much with that money. The other biggest expense that I know these people have is their car payments. The average car payment for Americans is about $423, but it has that was a few years ago, so I'm pretty sure it's gone up now. So I realized that that takes a lot of courage to do. A lot of people ask us, like, well, why are you moving? Why would you give up that beautiful home? Or like, why would you leave California? Well, this is why. Because while it hurt a lot. Let me tell you, it hurt because I do not like the cold and I do not like humidity. That's why we had gone to California, because California's got that beautiful dry heat, and the winters are beautiful. They're not like put on 20 layers to stay warm type of cold. Um, so I just want to give you that for food for thought, because if you're like me, you probably self criticize too much. And one of the things that I have been working on for years now is just being kinder to myself, giving myself more credit. And that's something that I always encourage my community to do, because I know how hard it is. Um, the other thing that I want you to keep in mind is that everybody's story is going to look different. And don't forget that when you look at those Instagram pictures, or, you know, videos and other pictures online somewhere of people's lives, they're showing you their best and they're showing you their curated life, meaning they make it prettier, they make it more clean, they use filters, they alter things. So what you're seeing is not really the hot mess that most of us live in, like the bad hair, the, I don't know, zit on your face, or the look of all days in your PJs or whatever, or those days where you just want to cry. So be more forgiving to yourself. Give yourself more credit, even about the little things, but definitely do an end of year review. And I'm going to show you, or I'm going to explain to you how you can do that. So, first of all, I want you to take your calendar, if you keep a calendar, and I hope that you do. So, whether it's a paper calendar or a digital one, or maybe even both, take those calendars and look through every single month and jot down all of the things that you did, whether it was birthday parties or a conference, or I don't know, a promotion at work, or the day that you opened your business, or the day that you closed your business. Um, you know, take note of who you spent time with. Who did you have meetings with? Who flaked on you? Um, Take note about, like, what new things you discovered. Um, what changes did you make in your personal and professional life? Because what that's going to tell you is how you lived your life, and where you spent your money and your time well, and where you didn't. And now, once you have an idea, once you've jotted down like all of the good and the bad and whatever, take note of all the people that took energy out from you, and the people who wasted your time. Take note of those people, and make sure that next year you do not give them the time of day, because it's not worth it. Those people are just not worth it, right? And then take note of all the people who did add value to your life, and make sure that you reach out to them. Heck, make sure that today you send them an email or a text or something and say, hey, I was just going over my end of year review. And I remember that we did this or whatever. And I just want to thank you for adding value to 2020 for me. And you'll be surprised because most people don't do that. Most people, they just keep on living their lives, right? The other thing I want you to do is to consider making goals for 2021. I know so many people are like, I hate doing that. I hate New Year resolutions. And then you ask them why, and they say, because I always fail at them. Well, maybe it's because your goals were too unrealistic or too big. You have to be very, very realistic because, if you know that, okay, I'm going to use a weight goal because that's like so many people that use that one. They're like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. 50 pounds is a lot of weight and it's super hard. I mean, it takes me like a month to lose 2 pounds if I'm working hard at it, at my level of hardness, because, everybody's different. So I can't say I'm gonna lose 40 pounds in 2021 because realistically, I know I've tried in the past and no, I cannot. I cannot do it. Can I lose some weight? Yes, I can. But so do that. Assess yourself in a realistic way. So do have goals because, like Zig Ziglar said, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. You got that? You will hit it every time. So make sure that you aim at something. Um, if you're having a hard time, one thing that I forgot to mention, if you're having a hard time recollecting what happened this year, especially if you did not keep a calendar, don't forget to use journals and your photo history on your phone or wherever you keep photos. Because that's going to remind you of like, oh yeah, I went to this marathon and this is how far I got, or oh yeah, I went camping at this park. Next year I want to go to this park. It's just a good reminder. The other thing I want you to consider adding to your list of goals is getting rid of toxic people, whether they are related to you or not. Just because you get rid of toxic people doesn't mean that you disown them or completely disassociate with them from them. All it means is you are going to keep a distance. You are going to be bold and courageous and say to them, hey, I just don't want to go to your event anymore because there's always too much alcohol there. Or you can say, I'm going to opt out on family dinners because I always end up getting upset. Or you can say, I'm going to be opting out on most of the events this year with the family because I am on a strict budget and I want to hit my goal. So I would appreciate it if you would honor and respect that decision. You can say it in so many ways. And, it could be true that you're trying to pay off debt, but it's just one of the many reasons why you should and can um, stay away from toxic people. You cannot change people. If you have been in this relationship with this person, whether it's a friend or a love interest, it should not be up to you to help that person or convince that person that they need change. It is so hard for people to be realistic with their self assessment. There's a study that I read a while back, asked people about how self aware they are, and a lot of them said they were pretty self aware. I think the most of them were in the 70 and 80 percentile. But in reality, when they redid it, they found out that people are actually less than like 7% self aware. So that's very telling that people just don't really see themselves the way that you see them. And so if a person doesn't see that they need to change anything, then they're not going to. It doesn't matter how many years you tell them or have been telling them that they need to stop. If they do not see it, they're not going to change. So it's better for you to walk away. It'll hurt, but your life will be so much better by not feeling like you just have this constant project that never sees any progress. And you know what? Then you start blaming yourself. You start saying, well, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe he or she doesn't love me enough. Maybe I'm just too strict. Maybe I just nag too much, because that's what they're constantly saying. So don't spend your good energy on those people. Spend it on those who are willing to listen, those who are willing to walk a good path with you. The other thing is, never argue with people online. This is crazy how 2020 has broken up so many relationships online, because of course the political atmosphere that we have been seeing, because of different beliefs, and people will argue on there instead of picking up the phone or meeting in person. Yeah, you can't meet in person because of COVID, but my point is, for conversations that are very delicate, you have to do it at least on FaceTime or a phone, not through text messages or chatting online. It is just not going to work. You you cannot you cannot convey a message that you are very passionate about or that you truly believe in through reading a message. It has to be, they have to see your face, and they have to hear that tone of voice. And by the way, don't yell or shout when you're having conversations with people. Just be very firm, but slow with your tone, with your voice, or with the speed of your speech. And don't yell. Speak in a low, firm, controlled voice, especially to people who are very, very hard headed and just don't want to listen. And, even if you do that, they still might not listen, but they will respect you more because you did it in a very controlled way. And like I tell my kids, don't ever use curse words or insults when having a conversation, especially when it's a delicate topic. Because, like, you can say, okay, that was a stupid idea, but don't say you're stupid. It just changes the entire tone and feel, and you will show disrespect for that person if you go that route. Lastly, I want you to consider just being more intentional. Be more intentional about what you do and who you hang out with. I cannot stress this enough, because it has been life changing for me. It has drastically reduced my anxiety. Not that it's completely gone, but some of us are just anxious people. But you will feel more at peace. You will also learn more about yourself, because when you're focusing your energy on people that are constantly sucking that energy out, then you don't even realize what makes you relax or happy. All it does is make you feel like you have to be on edge or on defense or just like survival mode. And that's no way to live. So remember, do an end of year review of your personal and professional life. It's going to be very helpful to learn about what you need to do in order to have an even better year. And it's going to help you actually look at 2020 and see what really happened for you. We know what happened to the world, but what happened to you? Because I hear people saying, oh my gosh, this is chaos. I hate 2020. But then I asked them, well, how bad was it for you? And they're like, oh, well, it really didn't affect me. But you just said it was like horrible and chaotic and all. So don't join that bandwagon. Okay. Recognize how it was for you. How was it really for you? What did you do or not do that was good for you? And remember that your kids are watching. And if you have that negative attitude, your kids will always learn to be negative as well, and to always expect negative things, and to always expect chaos, and to focus energy on the wrong things instead of living and enjoying life. Because you know what? Some of the best things that have happened to me in the last several years were in 2020. And I feel horrible for the people who lost family members and loved ones. It is devastating. I have one particular friend who has lost so many people. And I just honestly, I don't know how she continues to move forward. She's an incredibly strong person, but I also know that she has no choice but to continue moving forward. And I admire her for that. So for her, 2020 might have been really awful, but for a lot of us, it helped us in many ways. And actually, I have heard her, this particular friend, tell me that 2020 has also been good for her, despite of all of the loss that she's had. So, all in all, I just want to wish you a wonderful 2021. I think that if you started off positive, and keep it as positive as you can, you're going to have a wonderful, amazing year. And if you need help with ideas on how to start with a positive day, here are some tips. First of all, when you wake up, or before you even open your eyes, but you're mentally awake, think of something positive. Think of a mantra, like create your own. Also, notice who is in your circle. If you are the most successful person in your circle, in that circle, the sphere of influence, then you need a new circle. The, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's been said that the 5 people you spend most of your time with will dictate how far you will grow. So, again, if you are the most successful person in your circle of 5, then you need to step up, because once you've hit that top, you can't grow anymore unless you have somebody else pulling you up with them. You know, you got to grow with other people. You got to learn from people who have stepped up a little higher than you, people who are going to show you the way, or who are just going to allow you to learn from them by simply allowing you to watch them. And lastly, give yourself credit. Remember, give yourself credit for everything you've done. So, thank you for being part of my community. Thank you for your support. What I do is inspired by you. You drive me, you move me. I've had those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I should just quit. And then I think, no, but there are these people who I've never met, but they're constantly reading my newsletters. They're constantly watching my videos. They're constantly going to my social media, and hitting like or commenting. And I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. There are no words to truly describe how grateful I am for you. And I wish you